It was like he was a prophet. We have a right to declare our prophets like anybody in history declared theirs. So Malcolm X is a prophet. Elijah Muhammad is a prophet. Harriet Tubman is a prophet. And we have to have the sense to identify the elements in our ancestry and history that changed the course of our destinies. And people like Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Harriet Tubman, Sojourner Truth, they changed the course of our destiny in the world as African people with their wisdom and their courage to stand up against tyranny and to speak against tyranny in such a way that they analyzed the situation and then gave us a solution after the analysis. And so when we listen to Malcolm X saying to us that he's a black nationalist, and then when asked what does black nationalism means, he said black nationalism means you must control the economic, the politics, and the culture in the community you live. So we need to listen to Malcolm. When Malcolm tells us about police brutality, when Malcolm tells us about the drugs in our community and who's bringing it in our community and who profits from it, nothing has changed. They have simply modified the tyranny and the oppression in our community. And so Malcolm's analysis is still apropos for today. Matter of fact, most people never listen to Malcolm. Only a few of us ever listen to Malcolm. Let's tell the truth. Most black people, the overwhelming majority, have never listened to Malcolm. They've never read the autobiography. We need to now listen to the prophet and see that everything he told us has come true.
Right.
He criticized the civil rights movement. He criticized integration. He told us what the outcome was going to be. Look, Malcolm X was absolutely right. He told you it wasn't going to work. It didn't work. Matter of fact, it caused us greater harm than good. So today, now is the time. If you can read a Bible written 2016 years ago, or read Malcolm. It was only 45, was really 51, 55 years, between 51 and 55 years ago. He's looking at your situation. He's analyzing your situation. He's giving you a solution to some of the problems that's in that situation. So Malcolm is to us today what the Bible is to many Christians and many Hebrews and many Muslims. It is a source of analysis. It is a source of prophecy. It is a source of direction. It is a source of ethical, moral, principled behavior that will allow you to build a better life for yourself and your family. So I said, get on board. Reach out to Sonetta TV, and he can tell you where to get the tapes of Malcolm. You know, he can tell you where to buy the books of Malcolm. There's about at least 20, 30 books on the life of Malcolm X in one form or another, either in the form of his speeches or in the form of biographies and research on his assassination done by others, as well as his own autobiography.
When we look at religion today, is religion today, because some we get it confused. We say, well, we the ones that wrote the Bible. We the ones, our forefathers wrote the scriptures. I say, yeah, that could be true, but we're talking about the religion today.
Any theology or ideology or philosophy that does not give you a clear path to freedom is an enemy to your psyche, is an enemy to your intellect, is an enemy to your spirit, is an enemy to your body, is an enemy to your family, is an enemy to your people. Thus, it's an enemy to your very existence on the planet Earth. That goes for any, whether it's Islam, Judaism, Christianity, Voodoo, Yoruba, whatever. If those religious forms do not give you a clear path to freedom, do not give you a clear path to economic sustainability, do not give you a clear path to organize and a blueprint. The blueprint must come. There must be instructions. There must be a blueprint that outlines a path that show you how to build character, that show you how to build community, that show you how to build a family that makes up the community, that show you how to build a nation made up of communities. That's what any religion should do for a people. Religion, remember, the word means to go back. R-E, to do over again, and legio, back. So you're going back for what? You're going back to look for information to help you solve your basic problem. You're going back to look for ways to carry out conflict resolution for the issues you face within society and in your personal life. If the religion, not just the document may be well, but the religion is not the document. The religion is those who teach the document. The religion is the organization that set up rules on how you should behave. The religion tells you to pay 10% of your salary to a church. The religion is the minister and the deacons and the deaconess and the board of directors of that church that will build a church that costs $5 million while the parishioners are living in roach-infested, rat-infested tenements when they could have built an apartment building that would house 50% of their parishioners for half that money. Molestation to young girls, molestation to young boys, marriages falling apart, drug addiction, alcohol addiction, and yet they got to pay 10% for these people to live $1 million row, and these people have not put together support networks and innovative programs to help the people who are putting them on millionaires row to get out of the situation they're in and having access to millionaires row if that's the goal. We wouldn't be in the situation we are in today. Malcolm X said if it didn't do no more for you than it has done, you need to leave them alone anyway.
You see, Professor, here's the problem. These religious brothers and sisters out there believe in their mind that their religion has done something for them. God is the one that did this for me. Instead of them giving themselves the credit, they turn around and say, God is the one that did this. You know, God is making it a way for me to pay my bills. So how do you deal with that type of mindset? That's what I mean by when I say religion have been like an enslaving tool.
Well, we have to fundamentally tell those people who say those things is one of the tenements of their religion is to know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. So you tell me God got your daughter into college. What about Brother Jomo and Brother Malik, who went to jail for kicking down the college door and sitting in and insisting that your children go to college? Jomo and Malik are still in jail for all kinds of charges, while your child's got a law degree and wouldn't even think of going and giving them some free services to get them out of jail. No, you got to stop accepting the lie as your reality. People have common sense. Yes, many people are brainwashed, and fear is the dominant tool used in the brainwashing process. But you know who kicked down the college door. You knew that City College in 1968 had, right here in Harlem, had 22,000 white students in the middle of Harlem, a free school paid for by tax money, and black people couldn't go there. They had 150 black people and 100 Puerto Ricans going in the midst of 22,000, mostly Jews. Okay? And so it took black students and Latino Puerto Rican students, 250 of them, who formed an organization and tore the place apart and forced them to open the door and made City College the biggest black university in America. And your children have gone through there and get these degrees and became doctors or became lawyers, haven't looked back at the community where those people came from who kicked those doors in to create open admissions, create an opportunity for them. And so you can say Jesus sent them, got them to college if you want to, but Juan Santana got them to college. Rick Reed got them to college. Sister Grace got them to that college, okay? Pancho Cruz got them to that college. James Small got them to that college. Now, if you want to say we are your Lord, then you can say that, but stop lying. Tell the truth. Know the truth, according to your document, know the truth, and the truth will set you free. And the reason you're not free going to church every Sunday, because you won't accept the truth. Matter of fact, 90% of the people who carry a Bible have never read it from cover to cover.
True.
And the first thing you need to do is start reading the document. Most people, if you read that document before you get out of the Old Testament, you throw it away. Because you see the genocide and the brutality and the destruction that people have recorded as being history in favor of God. That's just in the old. You ain't going to get out of the book of Exodus before you're going to have a problem. Read your Bible. And if you read the New Testament, follow Christ's instructions then. I thought he said that we were all the sons and daughters of God. Follow those instructions. It tells you how to behave. Ask yourself, am I behaving in the manner this document suggests I should behave? Am I seeing reality in the manner this document suggests I should see reality? Stop lying on false theology that's not in the Bible, that's not in the Torah, that's not in the Quran, and pretending that that's your religious dictum that you got from these sources that are made up of information fragments. We didn't write the Bible, we didn't write the Torah, and we didn't write the Quran. The Quran, the Bible, and Torah represents fragments from the ancient African spiritual writings. That's all they are. But those fragments are enormous because it changed the barbaric world of Europeans and Arabs into a somewhat more human thing, except that they don't act very human towards us. So they just have fragments, those three documents, of a much larger body of wisdom and spiritual literature that goes back 40, 50,000 years before any of those documents were written. And those ancient documents was telling human beings how to behave as human beings so they can walk on this earth in peace and harmony. So know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. I think somewhere in Proverbs it says that wisdom had 7 daughters, but no one has explained to you that the 7 daughters of wisdom is the 7 liberal arts, which our ancient Africans created as tools to bring the best of what's in you out. So study your literature. Even if all you had was these 3 books, you can become an enormous human being that believe in social justice and will live and practice social justice towards mankind. But don't tell me that you got 3 good verses that you like, that you're a Christian, or that you can say 3 prayers, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, and do the Fatiha and the Ikhlas in Arabic, and then you tell me you're a Muslim, because you can make 5 prayers a day and all you know is the prayers you sang in those 5 prayers. You haven't read the book at all. And you don't know what the instructions are. Even those instructions, which are made up of fragments, is better than nothing at all. But have the courage to go back into the book of the coming forth, the pyramid text, the coffin text, the book of Kati, the book of Ani, these ancient African texts along the Nile. Or go back and get into the oral text of the Congo. It's recorded in the minds and in the rhythms of the drums of our ancestors. Get into the Odus of the Yoruba and understand the verses of those Odus and see that the moral instructions to you as a human being that allow you to live an ethical, moral, principled life that believe in social justice as a way of life, no matter what tag is on it. And then you'll see what's wrong with these so-called religions you're practicing. Just look around you. Look at the condition of your son. Look at the condition of your daughter. Look at the condition of your own self. Look at the condition of your husband. Look at the condition of your parents. Look at the conditions of your neighbors. And you tell me what you got. Tell me it works. First of all, I was referring to a verse in the Bible. It's called, "Let the dead bury the dead." And what it's referring to is, let the ignorant handle ignorance. Most people who make those statements, they're ignorant. So I don't have an argument with them. The first thing I do with people who says there was no slave trade, there was no slave ship, etc., I give them Carter G. Woodson's The Miseducation of the Negro. And they are not allowed to have another conversation with me until they've read that document.
There you go.
And then we can go forward. Because I'm not going to engage the blind as though they can see. I'm not going to engage the deaf as though they can hear. I'm not going to engage the mute as though they can talk. I've got sense enough to know when someone is mute and can't talk. I got sense enough to know when someone is deaf and can't hear. I got sense enough to know when someone is blind and can't see. And so when you start acting like the blind person could see, you've lost your way. When you start acting like the deaf person could hear, you've lost your way. What you got to do when you see a deaf, dumb, and blind person, you have to do what the Messenger of Allah, known as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, did. You're going to have to give him some vision. You're going to have to use knowledge and training to give them some hearing. You're going to have to use wisdom to give them a voice. And that's what we have to begin to do. And there are those people, when they're so damaged, Dr. Nobles call it having a shattered consciousness and a fractured black identity. Slavery, warfare, colonialism, imperialism, occupation, dominance, rape, murder, pillage, molestation has shattered the African consciousness in most people and have broken the African black identity in most of our people. And it is our job, those of us who can see a little bit, to help restore that vision, to help restore the hearing, to help restore that consciousness. And we can't do it unless we do what you're doing at Sonetta TV. We've got to give the history. We've got to do analysis on the politics. We've got to do assessments on our situation. And we got to offer solutions to our basic problems of food, clothing, shelter, safety, and security. But history must be clear, because if you don't define your enemy, and you don't outline and illuminate your mistakes, you will partner with your enemy again, and you will make those same mistakes again, and you will suffer the same consequences again.
All right, so with that, we want to say peace to your family. We're going to let Professor Smalls
Enjoy this magnificent breakfast.